And it was a comment that a veteran guy like Connor Murphy made after the fact, because it was just, 5-on-5 with a face-off offensive zone left circle. It was one, and Connor Bedard fires back across the ice to the right point for Connor Murphy, and you just see him have all this open space, and you're like, how the fuck is he so wide open? But he has a very nice shot that he put on, to give him credit. He kind of did a Bedard change the angle sort of a little bit,
100%.
but and he just roofed it, so it was a great shot. But afterward, the way that he was talking about it, he's like, well, the reason why I was able to have that much time and space is because the defense overplays and the overshadow on that side of Bedard. And you saw them exactly do that same thing on the power play that you referenced. So it's stuff like that, just feeding into what you talked about with the playmaking ability there. That's really impressive, and I'm excited to see it. And then you've got the stone cold killer mentality. Hey, he didn't even crack a smile after scoring that empty net goal. This kid has TW. He talked about it in the media sessions where, he just hates losing, whether it's in ping pong, darts, or whatever it is that he's playing, obviously in hockey. And then, how do you, exhale after something like that? I think it was Ben Pope that asked him that. And he said, just win the next game. That's TW right there.
Yeah. And like you said, I'm going to rehash exactly what you said a little bit earlier, Johnny. That is rock star shit. It's that type of stuff that separates the great players from the generational players, right? And I think I said this last night. So for those that might not know here at Four Feathers, you might only listen to Four Feathers. And if you do, we still love you and appreciate you, but we hope you listen to all of our On Tap shows. I was talking to my co-host over at Cubs On Tap after our show last night, Mr. Juice, and he's a very, I call him an elementary hockey fan, right? He'll watch, but he's not as invested as myself and Johnny and Tony are here at Four Feathers. And he asked me, he said, sum up in a handful of words to me what you think Connor Bedard is. And I was like, Juice, I would probably be dragged to the gallows and hung for this take. But if all plays out the way it could, when we talk about greatest players in franchise history, it'll go 98, 88, 19.
Right. And that's reaching full potential and having the accolades. But
right. And but that's the talent level, right? Like, we've seen greatness come through Chicago. I think that's what it's trying to highlight. We've seen greatness. He starts to tickle on that fine gray line of like a next level of greatness that admittedly, I don't think the Blackhawks franchise has seen since the days of Bobby Hull and Stan Mikita in their era, right? Like, they were extraordinary players for their era. We've never seen that Sidney Crosby, Connor McDavid level player on the Blackhawks in the post 2000s. Obviously, Kane is Patrick Kane, and Patrick Kane is extraordinary. But like it's that mindset that Connor Bedard has. Like you said, kind of that almost like killer instinct to him a little bit, where he just wants to win. And it's something that over at Cubs we see with a guy like Dansby Swanson. And maybe he's not the same talent level of a player, obviously, for his sport. But when you got that guy that just like you said, Johnny, the TW, watch out. Because if he's doing this shit at 18, imagine what he's going to start doing once he's 2 and 3 years into the league and knows how the NHL is played.
Right.
It's going to be crazy.
Yeah. I think that's a good summation of it. So obviously he's going to be the headliner of these shows all year. But while we're still here in training camp in preseason, we still got a lot to talk about.